At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, the guns fell silent on the Western Front to bring an end to the First World War. Our nation and Commonwealth has recalled that moment throughout our armistice and remembrance events down the decades during which men and women of our armed services have continued to pay the ultimate sacrifice. And so we gather this year, together and apart, as millions have done for more than 100 years, to remember lives sacrificed in the service of our country and those traumatized and injured in conflicts. May we too be committed to justice and freedom, so that the heroism of all who fought and still fight may continue to be remembered in a nation of service and in a world of peace. And of course, this year, the remembrance must be tinged with a remembrance of those who've given their lives fighting the virus, which has decimated this country and so many others as completely as many wars have done. Welcome. Welcome to this service of remembrance. I'm going to begin by reading a very short passage from the Bible, from Luke's Gospel. Luke 21, 1-4, and I'm reading from the Message version. Just then Jesus looked up and saw the rich people dropping offerings into the collection plate. Then he saw a poor widow put in 2 pennies. He said, "The plain truth is that this widow has given by far the largest offering today. All these others made offerings that they'll never miss. She gave extravagantly what she could not afford. She gave her all." And of course, that reading, if you think about it just as in monetary terms, it doesn't make sense. But when you understand that that poor widow probably only had those 2 pennies left, and having put them into the offering box, she went home to starve to death potentially, we then begin to understand that those who go to war go knowing and willingly to give everything they had, everything they have. They go willing to give the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, so that others might live. Remember the carnage, the colossal horror. Remember the love that was lost, the wisdom wasted, the minds that are still pained by memories. Remember the families bereft by wars and conflict. Let us remember before God and commend to his sure keeping those who have died for their country in war, those whom we knew and whose memory we treasure, and all who have lived and died in the service of humankind. They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow we gave our today. And so in remembering today, we're not going to just stand here or sit here and remember. We're going to make a commitment, not just to remember, but to help. And not just to help those who are elderly, but those who have been injured in conflicts far away, but also at home, and those who are fighting the virus and are trying to keep our country safe. When I ask you the question, will you remember them? Please, will you respond with, we will remember them. We come today to remember particularly those who have made sacrifices for the sake of humankind, whether abroad or at home. But we also take time to remember others who've served in conflicts and disasters closer to home, the military and civil services, both regular and voluntary, frontline and key workers who continue to serve day to day. And in remembering, we undertake to do all in our power to honour and help them, seeking with them to find and build peace and reconciliation. Will you remember them? We will remember them.
Normally at this point in the service, we'd be watching people or even ourselves laying wreaths at the cenotaph. Obviously this year that can't happen. So I invite you just to look at the poppy that you're wearing, or if you're not wearing a poppy, then to just envisage the red petals that remind us of the blood that's been shed. So much blood, so many young lives. And the black middle, which reminds us of the despair that war can bring. And of course, it's not just the despair that comes to those who are fighting, but the despair of families who've lost loved ones. But then we look at the green stem and the green leaf, and it reminds us that in those muddy fields at the end of World War I, there were green shoots that paved the way to the poppies that grew. And it's green shoots that give us hope for the future. And now I invite you just to pin that poppy back onto whatever you are wearing, and to wear it with pride and with thanksgiving, in remembrance of all who've given their lives to protecting us.
And so we turn to God in prayer. God of all, here with us now, loving us always, sharing our hopes for peace and our fears for present and future wars in this world that we share. Hear us as we pledge ourselves in prayer and deed to be your peace-creating people. God of time and history, of present and of future, as we mark the wars that are past and think of those we fight now, we turn to you for guidance and support. Help us in our human frailty to be the people you would have us be. May we respond to human need through loving service, bursting through the walls of our institutions to reach out with unconditional love. God of all compassion, may we always be alert to the needs of others and be ready and willing to respond to treat all others as we would ourselves wish that we should be treated. Kindle your love within us, that we may be your light in this world and channels of your peace. Peace in our world, peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, the peace of God, lest we forget. Amen. And so, as we finish our service, let us pledge ourselves anew to the service of God and our fellow humans, that we may be peacemakers and servants in our homes, in our community, in our country, and in our world. And now may the Lord bless you, give you wisdom, courage, hope, and keep you always in his love. Amen.